Hey everybody, Kevin here, your high performance coach. Here's a little something for your performance edge. Now, I want to talk about the whole idea of micro avoidance. Now, we all have some levels of discomfort. Whenever it comes to anything you're trying to improve on or trying to grow into, there's just an internal struggle sometimes to avoid the hard things. But we tend to only think of the hard things we're avoiding in the bigger sense, not the smaller sense. And I want to talk about the idea of this whole idea of micro avoidance. And it comes in earliest stages of development. It often lives in that little bit of discomfort of even thinking about what it is that you need to do. And it rises up and it often talks us out of whatever that hard thing is that we need to lean into. A micro avoidance just could be a gut thing. It could be some element of a head kind of tension that you feel in your head or the back of your neck. There is a lot of physiology that goes into this that we have to be aware of because we often think about things physiologically before we think about them psychologically. And I always tell people, whenever you feel tension, do you feel it in your neck? Do you feel it in your chest? Do you feel it in your gut? Where do you feel it? Where is the tension built? Is it in your forehead? Is it behind your head? Where there's always a leading indicator of what that is. And one of the ways that you kind of defeat micro avoidance is to be able to really look at it when you're feeling the physiological side of it and ask it what it actually really means. What is this really about? And when you start thinking about it, now that we've coined the phrase micro avoidance, now when you start thinking like, hey, this feeling that I have, is this legit? Is this like a real thing that I'm feeling here? And is this really more of an indicator of what I need to do rather than what I need to avoid? Well, when that happens, now it's like, okay, it sets the mission. It's almost like, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do, hey, yes, I feel this tension in this, but I'm going to run to it because I'm going to learn that there's nothing on the other side of this. In other words, that tension will go away. It will dissipate. And when you get that level of dissipation, then you get, it's kind of funny, but the energy level starts to kick in. You start seeing the benefit extension of going through what it is to get to the other side of that avoidance. And that's powerful. It's psychological. It's deep. But it's something that you need to build awareness of. So when we talk about this idea of micro avoidance, it's really more of, hey, I need to be aware. It's a self-awareness type of thing. It is, hey, what are those things that kind of discourage me, right? Or sabotage me from doing the things that I really need to do. Now, I'll give you an example. Sometimes in the mornings, when I get up, my cortisol is pretty high and I can feel it. You feel cortisol is that kind of that anxious feeling you have in the morning that you got to go. There's something you got to do. It's almost like, for me, it's a little bit of that feeling that I feel like I'm behind. It's like, oh my gosh. And there's good energy in that. There really is if you push through the micro avoidance. Because the minute you get a little bit of that anxiety and you start getting into something, you'll start being overwhelmed by all the things, right? And one of the elements of overwhelm is one of those indicators. So when I start feeling overwhelmed, I start feeling anxious, and it's not like a cortisol level. Now it's a psychological level, level of anxiety. Now I'm like going, okay, whoa, time out. What's the first thing? And then I get into the first thing. And what I want to do is get momentum by checking off the easiest thing. I'm just going right after like low-hanging fruit. What do I need to do? Put shoes on. What do I got to do? I got to drink my AG1. What do I got to do? And every one of those is like kind of a trigger that advances to the next thing. Now, some of these things can become routines, right? You put your shoes out the night before. You put your socks by your shoes. You put your socks on. That clicks. And then you get that kind of that chemical reaction, right? We talk about a brain chemistry. We get the chemical reaction of all that. And then we start going like, okay, I got momentum. Some people, they get up in the morning and make their bed right away. And that's one of those things that they do that's mindless, but it sets the tone. It gets you out of that micro avoidance. And then eventually, once you get momentum to the things that you're doing, all that dissipates. It all goes away. And next thing you know, you're on fire. the biggest challenge that we have sometimes in this world is we let the micro avoidances build and we move on to the next thing to avoid, and it's checking the boxes in the wrong way. It's just a level of kind of internal procrastination that we kind of bring to the table here on this, and it doesn't set us up to win. So I want to make you aware. I want you to see the invisible of micro avoidance. And then when you sense it, whatever it is physiologically, act on it. Act on it. Get your physiology changing. Get it moving in the right direction. Let the chemicals do its work for you. And when you get that dopamine, when you get that serotonin, it starts to build momentum. And then you're moving and shaking. And then you'll have momentum throughout the day. And I just want to encourage you, whatever those things are that you feel like you need to do, that you need to attack. You know, for me, it's like, hey, I got to get to the gym. I got to go through the routines to get me there. But when I'm there and I go through it, I feel great. And all of a sudden the chemicals work on my behalf. They work for me, not against me. So, hey, think about that, see that, get in the mood of that. And here's the thing, what does that look like in other areas? Because you got that in your business, you got that with conversations you need to have, difficult conversations, you got that. Like, think about the whole idea of micro avoidance, what that does and how you need to act and how you overcome it, because it will serve you well in all areas. So do some damage out there, and always remember this, when you see the invisible, you become unstoppable. Have a great day.